Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of the show. Today is a special one. It's a really special episode because this is my first ever solo podcast episode. And I am super excited about this because of normally when I do podcasts, I'm normally interviewing people. But today, I wanted to do one where I actually jump on the mic and just, talk about stuff. Yeah, so it's just me today. Yeah. And the second reason why this is a special episode is because it's my first video podcast. Again, normally I do just audio podcasts, but today I decided to try out the video one to see how that goes. Yeah. So, what am I going to be talking about today? I'm going to be talking about 5 mistakes that I see a lot of artists make when they build their fan base. And the reason I decided to talk about this today, the reason why this is my first episode, is because of something that happened over the weekend with an artist that I follow. So what it is, she posted a video on her Instagram stories, and in that video she was basically complaining about how her fans do not support her. And she was going on and on about how she's posting music videos, how she's posting her latest song, and none of the fans go to listen to them. And while watching this video, I felt some type of way. One, I felt a bit sorry for her because I can totally relate to her as in terms of you spending all this time, money, effort, creating this awesome song and then sharing it with your audience, and then nobody goes to listen to it. That hurts. I know. I've been there. The other way I felt while watching this video was I felt a bit disrespected, because of the way she was talking about it. She was kind of talking down to me as a fan of hers, because I was thinking to myself that, you know what, if I'm going to take my time, my precious time that I could be using to watch Netflix or make some beats or even watch some porn or something like that, I deserve more respect than that. I deserve to be talked to like a human, And her attitude on the video was making me think, you know what? If you're not going to treat me with respect, then you don't deserve me as a fan. And I'm actually going to unfollow you, And I almost did. However, I am a fan of hers, and I realized that she was just expressing her frustration, and I could get why she's frustrated. And I ultimately decided that, you know what, I think she needs some help. That's what she needs, and which is what I intended to do instead. And I know her situation is not unique. I know some of you guys are going through the same things, having what you think are followers that actually care about you and not getting that engagement that you want. So I decided to go through her profile to see what she was doing and to see what was causing the lack of engagement. And in doing so, I could instantly spot a couple of mistakes that she was making that might be causing this. And that is exactly what I'm going to be talking about today. I picked out 5 main mistakes that I saw her making, and I'm going to be sharing those with you. And I'm also going to be sharing some ways to avoid making these mistakes so that you can build yourself a solid fan base, a really loyal fan base that doesn't just listen to your music, but actually goes on to buy your shit, buy your merch, your tickets, and share your music with their friends. So without further ado, let's dive into it. So now the first big mistake that I see a lot of artists make, and this particular artist was making as well, is approaching building your fan base with the wrong mindset. One of the mindsets that I see a lot of artists have when they build their fan base is they're basically playing the numbers game. And what do I mean by this? So basically, a lot of artists approach building their fan base by trying to build a massive following as quickly as possible. And because of that, they tend to add every term they can harry out there as followers, And you don't need a rocket scientist to tell you this is a very bad decision. Now, the problem of doing it this way is that you end up with a very low quality fan base. And by that, I mean you end up with a fan base of people that don't necessarily care about your music or care about what you do. And whenever you post anything on say you were building it on Instagram, you're gonna get zero engagement, and then you're gonna end up making a video like this girl complaining about the fans not engaging with you. So you don't want to do that. Now, what you want to do instead is play the quality game. And by that, I mean focus on building a high quality fan base, a fan base of people that actually care about the music you create. And when you do this, life is 10 times better, trust me. So how can you do this? How can you build yourself a high quality fan base? That is the $1,000,000 question, and I'm going to be making a video specifically about how to do this in future. But in this episode, I'm just going to talk about one thing that you can actually do right now that will make a difference for you. So I know a lot of artists do the whole follow me, I follow you campaign, where you follow somebody in the expectation that they follow you back. While doing this is not a bad strategy per se, the problem with doing this is that most people just tend to go about this following just anybody. What you should rather do, or what you should do instead, is look for people that potentially could make good fans for you and try and follow them. So this will require a little bit of research on your part. And, one thing you can do is look for artists that are similar to you and then try and follow their fans and try and get a percentage of those people you follow to follow you back. So, for example, say you're an R&B artist, you could go and look for, say, somebody like Usher, if your music is similar to Usher, and start following his fans and then get a percentage of those fans to follow you back. Now, because of your music sounds similar to Usher, there is a high chance that those people are going to like your music. And that is one way to go about this, yeah? Now, the second big mistake I see a lot of artists make is that they try to build their fan base with their music. And I know you're listening to this thinking like, what the fuck, isn't that what you're supposed to do? The problem with doing it this way is that the moment your music stops connecting with your fans, if that ever happens, then you're going to have a problem. You're going to lose those fans. So if you're going to go about it, building a fan base this way, then you want to make sure that you're super consistent and you're banging out the same kind of level of music that makes your fans feel the same way all the time. Now, this is a bit of a problem because there's very few artists in the world that can pull this off. I mean, if you look in the last 10 years, how many artists have actually been, just pick a genre and think of how many artists that have actually been super consistent with every single song they drop. Now, there's very, very few. I think it's like 1 in 10,000 or something that can do this. In my opinion, don't take my word for this, but this is just me making a simple guess, yeah? So what you want to do instead is build a fan base with a very strong brand message. And you could do this by simply standing for something, by showing your fans that you stand for something. And when you do this, the effect that this has on people is that those who believe in that thing that you stand for, they tend to gravitate towards you and tend to become fans of yours. And as long as you stay on message, as long as you keep on communicating that message to your fans, you're going to be deepening that bond you have with them. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, you know what, how do I do this? Yeah, it's quite easy, actually. You want to determine what you stand for as an artist. And I'll give you a quick example. There's a situation in the rap game right now where you've got the lyricists and then you've got the mumble rappers, yeah? So if you're, depending on which side of the fence you're on, if you're all about lyrics, then you want to make sure that you're communicating that stance all the time to your fans. And you want to also be criticizing the mumble rappers, because of the more you do that, those fans who feel the same way will be resonating with that message, and they are very, very likely to become fans of yours. Now, the next big mistake I see a lot of artists make is not having a mailing list. And by mailing list, I mean a simple list of people that have given you their permission to send them updates about you and your music. Now, what most artists tend to do is focus on building their followers, their subscribers, whether it be on YouTube, IG, or TikTok, And while this is great and this works because of, social media is a great way to connect with people. However, there are huge problems in doing this. The main issue I have with focusing all your efforts on building your social media following and not having the mailing list is that by doing so, all your those followers that you're building are not necessarily yours. Yeah, they belong to whatever platform you're building on. So what I mean by this is that if that platform were ever to disappear, then you've lost all those followers. So if you spend some money and time building, say, 100K followers, say you were building it on on IG, on Instagram, yeah? If anything ever happens to Instagram, which is kind of unlikely, but you never know, then you've lost all those 100 followers, yeah? And it's not even just that, man. Sometimes people get banned from all these platforms. You might do something that takes you off this platform, wherever. Maybe you show a titty or you show some I don't know, whatever you do that goes against their rules and regulations, yeah? And then they ban you, and then that's it. You've lost all your followers, and all your hard work has gone poof, just like that. So what you want to do instead is, like I said, build a mailing list. And how do you do this? How do you build a mailing list for your fan base? Well, you could do this by signing up for an email marketing software like MailChimp, or my preferred one, Sendinblue. And then creating some kind of a lead magnet. A lead magnet is something that you present to somebody in exchange for their email list. This could be something valuable. And then when you get the email list of that person, you then add them to your mailing list. And you could do this manually, or you could automate this and just do it at scale. Hopefully this all makes sense, yeah? If not, don't worry. I'm going to be making a video showing you how to do this in future. So you want to make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you're watching this on YouTube, or subscribe to whatever platform, podcasting platform you're listening to this, yeah? Now, the fourth mistake that I see a lot of artists make is not identifying who their ideal fan is. Now, this one is related to the first one, the mindset one, because I speak to a lot of artists, and when I ask them who their music is for, they tend to give me two answers, yeah? The first answer is the music is for everybody, and the second one is I'm making music for myself. Now, these two answers are very, very wrong, because, especially if you're trying to build a fan base, because of one, if you're making music for everybody, then you're making music for nobody. Not everybody likes all genre of music. In fact, I met somebody the other day that told me they don't even like music as well. So, which was quite surprising to me. And I've never come across that before. I thought everybody liked some kind of music, but here's somebody telling me that they don't like music at all. So now imagine trying to get that guy to be a fan of yours, yeah? He doesn't like music, so what's the point, yeah? Now, the second thing about making music for yourself is why this is a terrible idea, because if you're making music for yourself, don't get me wrong, that's fine. Make music for yourself, but don't share it with other people. You've won already. You made the song, you like the song, end of story. But the moment you try to build a fan base, you're trying to get other people to like what you've created for yourself. So that doesn't apply there. So what you want to do instead is make music for people like yourself. That's a different mindset right there. Now, the final mistake I see a lot of artists make is not making valuable content consistently. I see this all the time. Some of the artists that I follow, they rarely post anything on their social media. And even if they do, it tends to be mostly a promotional piece of content. Something like, go check out my music, go buy my merch, or go buy my tickets, something like this. While there's nothing wrong in promoting your music, the problem is when you're doing it all the time, or if that's all you're doing, yeah? Imagine if you're my follower and the only content I'm posting on my Instagram or wherever you're following me is go buy my course or go buy my service or something like that. That is automatically gonna put you off. Nobody likes to be sold to all the time. What you want to do instead, or what you would rather me do, is create content that actually helps you solve a problem. And that's exactly what you want to do. If you're an artist listening to this, you want to start creating content consistently that helps your fans solve their problem. And the number one problem that you as an artist solves for your fans is helping them discover new music that they like. I'm going to repeat that. The number one problem that you solve for your fans is you're helping them discover new music that they like. So you need to make it your job to look out for other artists that you think your fans will like, and then present that to your fans. They will love you for that. If you can help them, if you can focus on just doing this alone, you will build a fan base that loves you more than anything else in the world. And that's pretty much it. 5 of the biggest problems that I see artists make and how to avoid them. So to recap, 1, having the wrong mindset. 2, building your fan base with your music. 3, not having a mailing list. 4, building a fan base without defining who your artist, who your idol fan is, and 5, not being consistent with creating valuable content. Now, I'm hoping you found this episode very helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments below if you're watching this on YouTube, and feel free to send me an email if you've got any questions about anything that I talked about today. My email address is xavi@tunecreators.com. And I'm also going to leave links to some of what I talked about in this video on the show notes. So head over to tunecreators.com to find out more. Until next time, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.